Let's start off this way. Director at the Police Public Affairs Unit, ACP David Eklu, says the service is having difficulties in identifying those personnel who brutalized Latif at the headquarters over a month ago. He, however, says the outcome of investigations will be presented to the service by close of this week. He was speaking to Joy News' Hannah Odame in the wake of continuous brutalities against staff of the Multimedia Group, in particular the Adom FM case, which is Sechua, who was also brutalized by Hajia Fati.
Did my checks, I understand the case has been reported at the Nima police station. The victim, or the one who made the report, the lady, has been given a medical form and is yet to return the medical form. And she has also given a statement. They have also spoken to the one who allegedly assaulted her. The statement has been taken and the lady is on bail.
Okay, so
our role is to enforce the law. So when a crime like this is reported, we investigate and identify the perpetrator to face the law. But I think that all of us will have to look beyond this one and see how various stakeholders, political parties, media organizations, and other things can work together to reduce these attacks on journalists. I think we can all work together and look at the best way forward. We cannot continue like this. The investigations we've already indicated is in two parts. The criminal aspect is being handled by the cantonment police. And like any other person who reports a case to the police, Latif is entitled to a copy of the police report. So he can apply to the cantonment police station through the Director General CID or the Inspector General Police for a copy of the police report on the status of the criminal case that he has lodged. In terms of the professional aspect, which is handled by our Internal Affairs Unit, we are expecting the report at this headquarters this week. And it will be looked at and we'll look at a way forward. So we are working relentlessly, especially on the other aspect of the case. That is where the professional standard is looking at it.
Okay.
The public is entitled to it through the Director General CID, and then it is produced.
Say a maximum of a day or 2 days or 3 days?
I cannot give you a specific timeline, but when it comes, the police are bound to give you a copy of the report.
Okay, even before the report comes out, are we sure that at least everybody wants to know is that the people who were involved, have they been identified with regards to the police who beat Latif? I would not want to jump the gun, but I know that as at the time I spoke to PIPs, they were having difficulties in getting identified the exact officer, but let's wait for the full report. Okay.
But we are all interested in getting to the bottom of this case and clearing it out of our books.
And whether it happened, is that
to look at? So let's wait for the report.
ACP David Eklu there will be here and we'll be counting down to the end of the week where we expect that report to be released. In the meantime, the Ghana Journalists Association yesterday spoke about taking legal action against a member of the New Patriotic Party, Hajia Fati, who slapped a multimedia journalist on duty. Sechua is the person I'm talking about. She has just returned from the police headquarters. We'll be engaging her soon. But before then, the Multimedia Group has issued a statement condemning the incessant attacks on its staff. We're demanding an immediate end to these attacks. The statement is also lauding efforts by the general public and indeed the media houses who are solidarizing with all of us. I have here in the studio with me our Managing Director of Multi TV, Santok Singh. Santok, it's good to have you. It's actually one of the rare moments where I get to host my boss. Let's see if I can ask you some very difficult questions.
Sure.
Okay, so, but this is quite a serious matter and we've been having this, and I usually refer to Imanolante's case, which we've had to deal with for the past 6 years.
Yep.
How does the group take what is happening so far, especially since last week was just a week that we commemorated World Press Freedom Day?
This is very shocking and surprising because it's like, I mean, Latif issue, for example, just like last month. Yeah. And we have not done with the settling the issue. Another one came, and that is again, like you said, a day after the World Free Press Freedom Day was hosted in Ghana, and was lauded by the Information Minister, the President, and everybody in the whole fraternity, and say that we have to respect and freedom of speech and also press
protect
freedom.
Our journalists.
Exactly. So this came a day after. It was shocking. I mean, it's like we can't I mean, we should not tolerate this anymore, because again and again we have seen many cases for the past few years, for the past months, you know, that coming, and it's not only multimedia journalists but also other journalists from the other media houses also experiences the same thing. So we totally condemn this, and we want this to end immediately.
Whilst we want it to end, what are some of the steps? Today we've released a statement that talks about it, but since you're here, we'll have you tell us some of the steps that we've taken and what steps we want to take in the future. In
the case of Latif, we have made an official complaint to the police, and police are investigating. I think we have reported ACP Eklu just now, that saying that they are concluding the investigation. Though I'm not surprised sort of with the outcome or statement they have made. But then we'll respect the processes. Due processes have to take place before we take the next action. And in the case of Charities HUR, I mean, what we have done is that we have written official complaint to NPP, the leadership of NPP, you know, condemning this, and then investigation to be done for the members who has done the brutality. And we have also written to the Information Minister, also for them to do the same thing, you know, bring this to an end and do a proper investigation of what happened. And also we have written to National Media Commission as well, for them to also take an action. So these are the steps we are taking, and we'll see the outcome of it, because we acknowledge that we have to go through due processes to do it, and then once the outcome is done, then we'll see what's the next step, whether we are happy, we are satisfied, or we are not happy, then what's the next step that we're going to take?
So then that would determine what next step we take. It's quite interesting also because throughout today, most of the morning shows have been addressing this particular matter. And you realize, for example, CTFM, they took a position this morning. They say that until government says something about it, or the party says something about it, they are not going to deploy their reporters to the NPP headquarters. I'm sure that we've acknowledged that in our statement. I'd like for you to say something about that as well.
Definitely. I mean, we really appreciate CTFM's support on this matter, because not only it affects multimedia, but generally the journalists or the press fraternity. And we really appreciate with the solidarity shown by CTFM, also by other media houses, Despite Group. We also have GJA has also issued statement, the Foundation of Media for West Africa, and the other media houses that has shown solidarity, because it affects them as well, not only us. But you know, we are a family. But my main concern is, I mean, or something that I want to say is, like, if this can happen to the journalists, what about the public, the normal person on the street? And it's like, you know, what are the brutality happening around? And we have to make sure that this has to stop.
It ends. It has to stop. And speaking of which, yesterday, Hajia Fati, this lady who beat up Sechua, for example, was saying that she thought that she was an onion seller. So does it mean that you can just go around beating people because they're onion sellers? That's also very interesting. But Santok, let me just find out from you how some of these things make you feel personally as someone who's managing media organizations. I mean, when you heard it, when you heard Latif, when you heard Sechua as the managing director, personally, I mean, try and get a bit personal with me.
Of course we were saddened. It's like, you know, we are saddened of why this thing is happening, because these are our journalists who are really working very hard for the public to disseminate information, to get right information for the people. And then, you know, they are treated like this. I mean, this is seriously saddened us, and we are taking this very seriously. So, you know, but however, we will not give up. We will continue to do what we do the best, which is balanced reporting, and we'll continue to do that. And these issues will not dampen our spirit, and we'll continue to do that. We'll be even stronger.
Right. That sounds very good to me. Santok Singh, thank you so much for coming. Santok Singh is the managing director for Multi TV there. This will not dampen our spirit, he says. We'll push right ahead with our job, but we'll also make sure that justice is served. Well, other media houses, like I said, have been in solidarity with us here at the Multimedia Group. They've issued an ultimatum to the New Patriotic Party to, with immediate effect, apologize and assure the media fraternity of their security, or they will boycott all activities organized at the party's headquarters. Yesterday on PM Express, former managing director of the Graphic Communications Group and media rights advocates Ken Ashibe also called on journalists to support each other so we can end these brutalities.
What have we done to politicians? What have we done to the military? What have we done to the police? Even there are times when you go to court and then it's the suspects, formally who attack journalists. There are times when it is pastors who gang up. What do we do? After a while, you find out that the same day that has happened, another media house will be giving audience to all of these people. But if it gets to a point where we decide that this is gone enough, we are not going to allow this thing to happen. Anybody who touches us, we too would use the power that we have, the constitutional power that we have, the moral power that we have, our professional power that we have to ensure that this does not continue. And that's very important. The first thing for me is that the journalists themselves, you tend to be the cause of your woes. When these issues happen, you don't find yourself even supporting it. There might be a journalist that is being beaten. Either it's out of ignorance or for lack of support. You don't even find the other media houses' camera being turned on to be able to collect evidence. So some of these things are critical things that the media needs to be championing. I've started pulling together, some lawyers to be able to support this cause. When Latif's issue came, and today, and some of the information they're giving us is very insightful to the extent that even the ability for journalists to be able to garner evidence when these things happen, to be able to then help in prosecution, we don't know. And so there's some training that needs to be done. So media owners, collaboration with GJA, various organizations, this team of lawyers, we need to all come together and start training ourselves so that we can hold people accountable for the things that they do against us. So it's important for the journalists themselves to also start realizing the power that we have. And that power is not only directed at the concerns of others, it's also directed at the concerns of yourself.
Ken Ashigbe there. Like Santok said, we'll keep pushing on. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and Opia.